Hey folks, welcome back. I'm Mark Ridgeby with MDR Photo, and today we are beginning a new series called Obsolete Kit. This is a series where I explore and do a full shoot with a piece of kit that is no longer being manufactured and in most cases no longer surfaces by the company who makes it. Analytics tells me that the majority of you are not subscribed to me, so go click that subscribe button, then run over there and smash down on that bell button so you're notified anytime I upload new content. Do not forget that anything that I use in this video, from the camera that I use to record to the lens that I'm reviewing, we'll have a link down below. Well, maybe not this lens, it's old, but we'll have a link down below so you can explore it and see if it's something that you're interested in. Now, back to Obsolete Kit. So I thought I would start big with this.
If you gonna be a bear, be a grizzly.
With one of the most desirable obsolete pieces of equipment around, the Canon 50mm f1.0L. Now, this lens was previewed at the dawn of the EF mount system, but it wasn't actually produced in 1989. And when it was released, it was priced at a whopping $2,500. Now, back then, that was way too expensive for the average photographer. I know, $2,500 doesn't sound like an exorbitant amount of money today, especially since the majority of the RF lenses are priced similarly. But this was 1989 we're talking about. That's like pricing this lens at $4,000 at today's prices. Today, if you're looking for a copy of this lens, you can find it for sale on forums, in used shops, and on eBay pretty regularly. But it's often priced anywhere between $1,500 for a rather beat up copy to around $4,000 for a pristine one. Now, when this lens first came out, there was only one version of the EF 50mm lens, and that was the f1.8. Imagine what it was like being a photographer at this time. You either had the choice of a 50mm f1.8, the nifty 50, or a 50mm f1.0 at 10 times the price. There wasn't anything in between. It was all or nothing at that time. But remember, this was the beginning of the EF lens mount life. As time would go on, Canon would introduce the EF 50mm f1.4, and later in 2000, it would discontinue the f1.0 in favor of its cheaper brother, the 50mm f1.2. While having f1.0 is nice in low light, it also had a razor-thin depth of field, and the cameras at that time didn't have the autofocus that was accurate enough to land that sliver of sharpness in the right location. Fast forward to today, where we have cameras like the EOS R5 and R6, and you have an autofocus system that just might be up to the task. Let's talk about build quality. Seeing as how it shares the same type of body as the Canon 85mm f1.2, this is the 85mm, it feels very premium to the touch. Solid metal housing, nice large body that makes it easy to grasp and easy to mount onto the camera. Earlier I spoke about the challenges of autofocus. Now, to understand that, you have to take a look at the autofocusing mechanism in this lens. Just like the 85mm f1.2, it is a focus-by-wire lens. This does not lend itself to very, very fast focusing. In fact, this lens is pretty darn slow. Canon tried to counter this by adding a focus distance switch on the base of the 50mm f1.0. The switch allows you to set the focusing distance to either 0.6 meters to infinity or 1 meter to infinity. Either way, doesn't matter what you choose, this lens is still about as fast as a drunk sloth crossing the street. With that said, I was ecstatic to see that the iFocus capabilities on the R5 translated well to this 25-year-old discontinued lens. As far as everything else that you find on the modern L lenses, the 50mm has a lot of omissions. Obviously, with 1.0 aperture, it doesn't have in-body stabilization. It just doesn't need it. You got a super fast lens, and if you couple it with camera with IBIS, there is no need for f1.0 except if you're looking for depth of field. Second, it doesn't have weather sealing of any kind. What that means is that you're not going to go out in a snowstorm or a rainstorm without some kind of protection, because this thing just will not stand up. Let's talk about image quality. Image quality on this lens is adequate. It's soft at 1.0 and doesn't really improve until you get to around f1.8 or 2.0. For me, this negates the whole purpose of having one of the fastest full frame lenses ever created. But I'm not sure if it's the copy I actually have or all the copies are like this, but it was tough to get an accurate focus at 1.0 using my Canon EOS R5, even with the iFocus engaged. So what I did was I invited a local model out by the name of Cindy. She goes by on the Instagram handle of Cindy Quill. below. I'll put a link down below in case you want to go check out some more of her work. And what we did was we used similar poses and different apertures to see the difference in quality between the two. This lens is an odd duck. It's almost like you're getting the image from a medium format camera. I've shot many medium format cameras. Super shallow depth of field. The bokeh is very interesting in how it presents to the audience. It's just something that looks different than anything else out on the market today. And that's the only reason you would have it. In conclusion, for a hefty sum of $2,500 to $4,000 for a decent copy of this lens, I feel it isn't really needed. With the IBIS and the new bodies, the sensors being able to produce the very pliable files in regards to exposure play, the need for a lens with an f1.0 aperture is not there, unless you're a collector or you're looking for a certain type of bokeh. Either way, as a working professional, I would suggest that you take that money and go buy the Canon RF 50mm f1.2. In the long run, you'll be much happier. Anyway, I'm Mark Rigsby with MDR Photo. If you liked the video, click like. If you love the video, click subscribe. If you didn't like the video, heck, click subscribe anyway. Who knows, maybe the next video will be the one that you enjoy. Do not forget to hit that subscribe button, then run over and smash that bell button so you're notified anytime I upload new content. And I'll see you here next time. Talk to you later.